Hello and welcome to our channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about something that affects everyone in any kind of relationship: conflicts. Whether it's with your partner, friend, or family member, conflicts can arise and lead to problems if not handled properly. But don't worry, we're here to help you learn how to handle these conflicts in a healthy and effective way. By recognizing the problem, listening to each other, talking calmly and respectfully, and figuring out how to compromise, you can keep your relationship strong and healthy. Acknowledging the problem. First, let's talk about the importance of recognizing the problem. When a conflict arises, the first step is to figure out what the conflict is really about. It might be something big and complicated, or it could be a small issue that's been blown out of proportion. Either way, identifying the root cause of the conflict is crucial. For example, if you feel that the other person doesn't appreciate you, try to narrow it down to something more specific. Maybe you feel like you do more than your fair share of cleaning, cooking, and handling finances. Identifying these specific issues helps you address them more effectively. Once you've identified the problem, choose an appropriate time and place to talk. Make sure you both have time to discuss the issue without interruptions. Avoid discussing conflicts in public places like coffee shops or restaurants. Find a private room or somewhere you can be alone to talk things out. It's also important not to put off dealing with the conflict. Ignoring the issue can lead to simmering emotions and worse feelings in the long run. The longer you ignore a conflict, the more negative feelings have a chance to fester and build. This is unhealthy and can cause further problems. Having a constructive conversation. Now, let's move on to having a constructive conversation. When you're handling a conflict, it's important to express your feelings calmly and respectfully. Focus on how you feel instead of blaming the other person. This helps avoid accusations and attacks. Try starting with something like, "I've noticed lately. I'm wondering if there is another way we can do this." Use I statements to keep the focus on your feelings. For example, instead of saying, "You are lazy and do nothing around the house," you could say, "I feel used and unappreciated when you come home from work and leave your socks and work stuff all over the living room. I would feel like you're helping out if you take all that stuff into the office or bedroom instead." Listening to the other person is just as important as expressing your feelings. As you deal with the conflict, listen to what the other person has to say. This is essential for handling conflicts in relationships. Conflict arises when there are problems on both sides, so it's important to hear their concerns and thoughts. As you listen, try to figure out what is important to the other person and what needs of theirs are not being met. This will help you understand their perspective better. Avoid using negative language during the conversation. When dealing with conflict, you might feel upset or angry. In the heat of the moment, you might want to yell or call the other person names. But this is not a healthy way to deal with conflict. Try to remain calm and use neutral words. For example, you could say, "I feel hurt by your behavior," instead of, "You're a jerk and an awful person." Steer clear of generalizing language, such as saying things like, "You always," or "You never." Don't hit below the belt by picking at things your partner is sensitive about. This can be extremely hurtful and damage the trust between you and your partner. For example, if your partner is sensitive about their weight, making a weight-related comment would be hitting below the belt. Avoid exaggerating the issue. Stick to the facts and don't make something seem like a bigger problem than it is. This can interfere with a helpful discussion of what's actually bothering you. For example, if your partner forgot to take out the garbage, but you're really upset that they haven't taken you on a date in a while, don't act like you're just mad about the garbage. Say what's actually bothering you. Give examples to support your position. This may help the other person understand where you're coming from. If the other person has done something wrong or hurtful, examples can help them see what behaviors have hurt you. For example, you might say, "I feel that you take me for granted around the house." Then follow it up with, "I was really frustrated when I asked you to take out the trash while I was washing the dishes and you didn't." Respond in a respectful manner. Acknowledge that the other person has feelings and that those feelings are legitimate. As you talk with the other person, remain calm. Speak in a calm voice and keep any feelings of anger under control. Don't respond in a defensive way. Try to refrain from yelling, saying hurtful things, shutting down and refusing to speak, walking out, or accusing the other person. Instead, try saying, "I understand what you are saying," or "Your feelings are valid even if I do not agree." Avoid saying hurtful statements to each other. Sometimes, when you're telling someone how you feel about an issue, you might want to hurt them because they hurt you. This means you might poke at an area you know that upsets them on purpose. Try to avoid this kind of behavior because it can lead to resentment, distrust, and anger. Try not to exaggerate your feelings to make them more than they are or make up lies. These false statements can hurt the other person and damage the relationship. Reaching a solution. Now, let's talk about reaching a solution. Use empathy to build common ground. Empathy is the process of putting yourself into someone else's shoes and imagining what they must be thinking and feeling. Try to give your partner the benefit of the doubt and consider what may be going on with them. By tapping into your empathy for your partner, you may find it easier to find a solution. Some questions that you might ask yourself include: what's going on in my partner's life right now that they might be acting this way? Is it an understandable type of stress or experience? How would I want to be supported if it were me? How can I use this information to respond to my partner in a sensitive way? Sometimes you may need to take a step back and think about what has been said. After a discussion, you may have a lot of new information about how each other feels. Instead of rushing to a resolution or decision, it may benefit you both to take some time to think about what the other person has said and how you feel about that. As you take time to process what has been said, really work on understanding the other person and seeing things from their point of view. Try to see their position as a valid one. If you are unable to come to a solution immediately, you may need to take a step back and think about the issue for a few days. You can come back together to discuss the problem again after you've both calmed down and had time to think. Be prepared to forgive. As you come to a resolution of the conflict, you should be ready to forgive the person. A resolution to the conflict means that you move past it and don't dwell on it or think about it again. You don't hold negative feelings inside or stay angry. The conflict is left behind. Don't reject the person or withdraw from them after the conflict has been resolved. The resolution should bring you closer, not push you apart. Reaching a compromise together is an important part of handling conflict in relationships. When you compromise, you both come to a decision that is acceptable to both of you. You both agree not to expect the outcome to be exactly like you want it. Instead, you agree to find a solution that works for you both. This may take some creative thinking on both of your parts. You both also need to have open minds. You cannot come to a compromise if you are unwilling to work with the other person. Accept that you will have disagreements throughout your relationship. It's okay to disagree about certain points. You don't have to agree about everything, even if you are in a relationship. As you face conflict, you may have to accept that you will not see eye to eye on this point. That's okay. You can disagree on the topic and respect that each person has their own opinion about the matter. This may be helpful if you can't come to an agreement or resolution. However, if you agree to disagree and let the conflict go, you must follow through and let it go. Don't hold on to it and fester in your frustration that the other person doesn't agree with you. Because of differing ideas, you may both think you are right and think the other person is wrong. Opinions are rarely right or wrong. They're just how you believe. By accepting each other's differences, you can work towards resolving the conflict and respecting each other. If you come to a place where you can't find a resolution to the conflict, you may consider going to conflict counseling. A professional can help you learn how to discuss your feelings in a calm manner, build conflict resolution skills, and come to a resolution that is agreeable to both of you. You can search online for counselors or therapists who specialize in conflict resolution. Depending on your relationship, you may consider a family counselor, relationship counselor, or marriage counselor. Conclusion. Conflicts are a natural part of any relationship, but they don't have to be destructive. By recognizing the problem, listening to each other, having a constructive conversation, and working towards a solution together, you can handle conflicts in a healthy and effective way. Remember, it's not about winning or losing, but about understanding and growing together. We hope you found these tips helpful. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more helpful relationship advice. Thanks for watching.